All right, everybody, welcome to Teaching Crypto. Please hit that like, that subscribe, bell notification. Super chats are open. All right. So Bitcoin went down. Guess what? Went back up. Chased 117 today. You know, Mr. FOMO, here's the deal. A lot of people were expecting September to be Rectember, right? And be awful. And so far, not so bad. If we could end strongly here. And honestly, remember those 88 during the holiday weekend calls? If we get
Hmm.
strongly here and get to maybe 120, dare I say, we could be in amazing shape for a mini alt season and Bitcoin to surge to 150. I got into an argument today with someone who thinks I'm crazy for saying Bitcoin can get to 150K. I see rate cuts coming. I see some economic, basically, they're going to try to make the economy look good into the holidays here as much as they can. They're gonna try to, you know, make this pig let's get as much lipstick on this pig as possible here going into the holidays. And I think they're going to be successful. And I do believe, look, I've been calling for this rally for several years now. And you thought I was crazy at 20K, at 30K, at 50K. Guess what? We're at 117. I'm still calling for the 150 to 180. Obviously, the 180, we got a long way to go, but I'm feeling pretty confident tonight, Mr. Fomo.
Yeah, we talked about the launching off point. We talked about where we needed Bitcoin or wanted Bitcoin to be before we got into into the month of October, or Pumptober as we call it. You look at that green, all that green there next to that September that you have highlighted. So this is definitely a good sign, but I'm still worried about the altcoin market because it is so diluted. You're talking about 20 million coins that are out there. Now, most of us can't trade all of those coins because we're not on the platforms. We're not in the areas that you need to be for to be able to trade some of those meme coins. But that's still, the market is still very diluted. And I just don't think it's going to look like altcoin seasons of the past. I think we're going to get something that's very short, very sporadic, and I don't think we're going to see as many of the exponential pumps as we have before. Sorry to throw a wet blanket on the party.
I see. I don't think you're going to see these amazing 10, 20, 50, 100x breakouts here, especially in 1 month. The interesting thing is, some people are saying this could bleed into November because of how late we've kind of started, which I can see that. But I think I just think the price has been suppressed for so long, and you'll get a surge here in October. I can't promise anything. I wish I could. If we could promise stuff, we would be here, right? Or we'd have a million viewers right now. But what I can say this, you want to keep it on this program. And if you've been listening to us, there's a very good chance you're going to be a very happy person in October. Because October, while some people will be buying, we hopefully and our viewers will be selling and taking profits. Obviously, I have to say, do your own research here, but we've had how many months to build? I mean, we've been down since we had that surge after the election. We've been down January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and now September. There have been some brief positive momentum streaks within that. And most of these altcoins kind of bottomed out in April. I remember you sending me that text in April when we dropped down into the 70s saying the Bitcoin, the bull run was over. And I told you, no, still plenty of time in 2025. And I still believe it. Again, you're going to have to take profits in October. Maybe you can sneak into November, but by Thanksgiving, I truly think you want to be out of this game. There are some people, right? some people that think this is going into 26. Um, I think it's such a risky game to play with the uncertainty around the world and economically. Being in some of these assets besides Bitcoin in 2026, huge risk. Can you tell our viewers about the risk they would be taking if they decided to hold these all into 2026?
A lot of these alts are going to be decimated into 2026. And I don't mean decimated like on the normal market when something bad happens and you have a black swan day. I mean decimated, like 95% of their value will be lost. And if you round trip your bags on that, you will be sorry.
Isn't that worse than a round trip? Because you're going up and then you go back to where you started and then either further back. Is there a word where
Yeah, I
you
mean,
further go back? That's not a round trip. That's that
yeah,
would be like
it's worse than a round trip.
driving to I don't know, to Atlanta from Tampa, and instead of coming back to Tampa, driving further north to Green Bay. That's that's the analogy there. You're not
Yeah,
you're not
it just doesn't make sense at this point. You've watched you've watched your Bitcoin holdings gain you profits over the last couple of years. It's time to realize those profits.
Now,
Um,
Mr. FOMO, what would get you excited price wise this month? Is it 120? Is it 122? Is it just staying where we are right now? What gets you motivated to jump on board with me and say that 150 is coming this year?
oh, 150. I'm still somewhere in the 130 to 150 range myself. I don't know how much more time and how much more gas this bull run has. So I'm not sure that we could get to the 180 range. But right now, just seeing the momentum that we've gotten, we talked about this last week. We said we wanted to get back to 115 to 117, right in that area. That's exactly where we are. So I am excited for where we're at. I just don't think that we have that much further to go. Remember, the bull run lasts for about 18 months past the halving event. This bull run started maybe 3 months earlier because of the ETFs. So this bull run is already doing things that you know other bull runs haven't done. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing end here at the end of the year, and to watch a lot of people lose a lot of money.
Now, I'll tell you something here, kind of flown under the radar. Last time we did a show together, um, Doge was around 20 cents. Guess what? Bitcoin dominance has gone down, and this is just one. Doge now trading at 27 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it got all the way up to 31 cents, right? So it went from 20 to 31 in less than a week and a half. Um, sometimes it's tough to get you on the air, Mr. FOMO. You're doing all this research about stuff we can't talk about the air. I'm glad we dragged you in here tonight. But in all seriousness, that's just an example of if you're not holding any Dogecoin, you wouldn't notice. It's like, wait, we were just at 20 cents and all of a sudden, boom, 31, come back down to 27. But just one example, wasn't that long ago we were talking about XRPs in the 270s. Guess what? Over $3. So I think what you're seeing here is Bitcoin dominance is going down, and that's more of honestly that's more of a show that we're about to go up. Um, here's what I want to say, right? Your goal, this is just my opinion, do your own research, should be hopefully to maximize profits and get back in if Bitcoin does go back down. I truly believe you're going to see a Bitcoin well north of 200K in 2028. Well north. And at the end of the next bull run, 2029, over 300K. I truly believe that. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if we pushed towards 400K in 2029. And then after that, if the cycles aren't broken 8 years from now, that's when I think we're going to see the mill. But maybe we get there further. There was a rumor, it didn't come true, that Michael Saylor was meeting with government officials today about possibly a Bitcoin reserve. We've heard of the Bitcoin reserve. It's kind of like the Bigfoot at this point. We know the U.S. holds Bitcoin, but they've been very, very casual about how they're going to add Bitcoin. They talked about neutral buying of Bitcoin, whatever that means. I don't know how you can buy something neutrally.
Well, what they mean is budget neutral. If they can find ways that won't affect the budget negatively, then they'll do it, which means they'll keep confiscating Bitcoin from criminals.
All they have to do is just print money like they do at the Pentagon, and they'll be fine. Anyways, Tennessee makes a great point. 3 rate cuts incoming. Anything is possible unless we get a curveball. Yeah, you never know. You like, oh boy, you never know what could be around the corner. But guess what? It's mid-September now, so hopefully no craziness, and we get a nice run here. But people are going to take profits before the holidays. That's just the reality. If you don't expect that, you're going to be the one holding the bag, the literal bag. So be careful out there, because we want to learn from our past mistakes. There aren't as many shows around like this anymore, Mr. FOMO. BitBoy, some of the OGs are still around. You know what I mean? But a lot of the shows have kind of called it quits. Even the guy that used to do a daily Cardano show, he's branched out. After 5 years, he finally had enough.
Wow.
Cardano finally broke the man. I mean, he lost his wife, he lost his kids, but
is that what it was?
He still had his ADA.
Casting aspersions on this guy.
I'm kidding here. But in all seriousness, listen, okay? I think the best days of the bull run are coming right now. But I agree with you. You can't expect all these alts to do everything that they were supposed to do in the last 9 months in 1 month. As much
if you had Dogecoin and it went from 20 to 31 cents, you should have taken profits.
Well, depending on where you bought, though. That's assuming you bought at 20.
Right.
If
you made 50%, be happy with your 50%.
A lot of people didn't, though. A lot of people bought in the surge in December. Maybe someone like me, possibly, when they should have waited. and right now they're not in the green. So hopefully you can get. I wish everyone's success that watches our show, obviously, because you guys have supported us for years. And I want you to do well. And that's why we're kind of pushing. We can't tell you what to do. You have to do your own research. But please consider taking profits in October, because the good times never last when it comes to crypto cycles. This would be the first in history. Any show that's calling for an extended cycle, a super cycle. I remember George, our buddy George, 4 years ago, was saying the same thing. He was saying, I really believe there's going to be a super cycle because of all the institutional buying. And you saw Bitcoin go from 66 to 16, just like that. Well, you could see Bitcoin go from 150 to 76, just like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you want to be able to pick it up at 76 if you've taken some profits. You want to be able to buy during the bear. If you truly believe, like us, that this is a revolutionary, asset that's going to dominate the market over the next decade and plus, you want to get more of it, not less. I mean, maybe look, if you can afford to hold for the next 10 years, God bless you. But a lot of people, we've talked about this, are not in that situation. So, Mr. FOMO, I've talked about Dogecoin. I've talked about XRP. Are there any tokens before we leave that you are looking at right now thinking, wow, if one of our viewers hasn't picked it up, we're at the witching hour to buy stuff, in my opinion, that you would recommend possibly picking up here? and trying to take profits, because we don't want you guys to buy in October when things are going way up, when other people are doing that. Don't make that mistake. Don't wait.
Yeah, like you said, it is the 11th hour here. We are kind of late to be buying. If I was going to buy something, it would be something that makes sense that hasn't pumped yet. Maybe Arkham. Let's see what else. AIOZ hasn't pumped yet. They're an AI play. Arkham is de-anonymization of the blockchain. I think that's,
Well,
to an
an
extent, that'll
oldie,
be an important thing in the future.
an oldie that hasn't done much at all. Chainlink, all-time high 52, now at 23. It's I wouldn't say it's been dead, but it's struggled mightily.
And that's another thing. The OGs are going to run during this
Most
bull
likely.
run. Whatever we get, the OGs are going to run because they're everywhere, right? Like that's what people are going to be able to get their hands on. Really, is the OGs. We talked about this on another show. When you talk about things like PayPal and even Venmo, you can buy crypto now. When you can get your hands on crypto, and that's what people are going to do. They're going to go to places that they trust. They're going to be less likely to branch out to things like Kraken and getting a cold wallet. I still think we're probably a decade away from cold wallets being a normal thing.
If they're allowed.
Right.
I mean, it seems like we're going opposite, honestly, to the chagrin of some of our Voyager friends that we used to argue with, that everyone by now would have a cold wallet and have all their money in there. Remember that?
And your grandma would be able to use it.
Yeah, remember that? Shout out to those guys, to one of those guys. I hopefully he's watching. But look, the reality is things evolve slowly. We know that in education, just from some of our colleagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are still doing things that you would do in the 90s and early 2000s. Same goes for the real world. I still talk to people and they're still like, I don't know about this Bitcoin thing. Who's going to buy it from you? We're still early. Again, I keep using this analogy. I still remember when the internet first came out, there was a guy that was majoring in computer science, and he said, this internet thing is a fad. Pretty soon, only the people that really love computers are going to be on here. And 29 years later, he was pretty off.
Yeah.
Just a bit off. I mean,
and you still have some of those same types of news stories going on about Bitcoin and crypto that you had about the internet back in those days.
Yeah.
People still trying to understand, still trying to wrap their minds around it, even in the mainstream media.
Oh, yeah.
And so if that's what's happening in the mainstream media, then the mainstream person is still light years behind us.
Well, guys, keep it here. By the way, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please share the show. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Guys, things are about to take off. Like I said, keep it here for the video.